Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a little different, and I think it's going to surprise you just how much insight we can actually pull from it. Instead of the usual stack of articles, we're diving deep into just one single, really potent visual source. Because sometimes, the most profound ideas aren't spoken or written, they're seen. Our source today is excerpts from Guts. Now, obviously, the title's in another language, but our focus isn't really on the text itself. It's on this powerful illustration that's described in these excerpts. It's a visual metaphor for personal growth. And when you really lean in, it offers this surprisingly rich tapestry of meaning. So our mission today is to unpack the symbolism, sort of hidden meanings within this very calm, very inspiring illustration. We're going to peel back the layers, basically. Show how its individual elements don't just stand alone, but they actually work together. They collectively portray this really nuanced, multidimensional journey of self-development. What looks simple at first glance.
Well, it invites a much deeper look. So let's set the scene. Just try and imagine this central image. You've got a young person standing confidently on a mountain peak. The sun is just coming up, painting the sky with fresh light. And in their hand, they're holding a diary. Just take a second to visualize that. The height, the dawn, the quiet act of holding that diary. What jumps out at you first?
Well, what's immediately striking, I think, is that combination, the mountain peak and the sunrise. It's very deliberate. The mountain, or Shikar, as the source title hints, isn't just, I made it. For an audience like ours, one that thinks deeply about this stuff, it immediately makes you consider the process, the climb itself, right? There's a sustained effort, the resilience you need for that long haul. It's about the transformation during the journey, not just hitting the top.
That's a great point.
And the sunrise, it's more than just a new day. It's the clarity, maybe, the clarity that comes after darkness. That unique energy of a fresh perspective, the intentional choice to embrace a new phase of growth with purpose. It's like overcoming yesterday's shadow symbolically.
That really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? It's not just about arriving, but how you get there and the mindset you bring each day. Okay, so the person isn't just standing there. They're holding a diary. It feels like a really crucial detail. What does the source and just our general understanding of personal growth tell us about how this diary connects, especially to things like habits and continuous improvement, thinking beyond just, ticking boxes?
Right. The diary here is, well, it's much more than just a logbook. And this brings up a key question for anyone serious about growth, really. How does that consistent self-reflection, particularly writing it down, move beyond just observing yourself? How does it become an actual engine for intentional change?
Like a tool.
Exactly. Think of it like a personal feedback loop, almost like agile development for yourself. By consistently documenting thoughts, actions, outcomes, you're not just tracking, you're building this rich data set of you. And that lets you actually recognize patterns, not just what you do, but maybe why certain habits stick or fail, or why you react to challenges in specific ways. It's iterative. You're constantly evaluating, learning, refining your own, let's say, internal code. It's where those subconscious habits can start to become conscious choices.
That's a fascinating way to put it, like a data-driven approach to your own evolution.
Yeah.
Okay, so zooming out a bit on this illustration, there's more going on. The source mentions these floating icons around the person, specifically books, a growing plant, and a staircase. These aren't just random decorations, are they? They must add more layers to this growth idea.
Absolutely not random. Each one is a pertinent, concise symbol. And putting them all together creates this sort of comprehensive framework. It shows what genuine, sustainable self-development really involves. Let's break them down a bit, maybe go beyond the obvious. First, the books. Yes, they mean knowledge, learning. That's clear. But for someone already engaged in personal growth, it's probably more about active engagement with that knowledge. It's not just passive consumption, right? It's absorbing, synthesizing, actually applying ideas that challenge you, expand how you see things, give you new tools. So these books suggest maybe a commitment to lifelong learning, recognizing that growth needs constant feeding with new understanding.
Right, not just reading, but integrating.
Precisely. Then you have the growing plant, and this is such a nice counterpoint to the maybe more rigid idea of climbing a mountain. A plant suggests organic growth. It's often non-linear. It really highlights things like nurturing, patience, resilience. Plants grow through seasons, right? They adapt. They might lose leaves, look dormant, but then they rebuild. It's a powerful reminder that self-development isn't always a straight line up. There are cycles. Dormancy, adaptation, setbacks, always reaching for light. That's a critical piece, often overlooked. True sustainable evolution.
That's a lovely metaphor, the resilience aspect.
And finally, the staircase. This one seems more straightforward, structured, step-by-step progress. It definitely emphasizes that growth is a journey of ascending stages, breaking big goals into manageable steps. But if we connect it back to the whole picture, it also speaks to discipline. Perseverance, the sometimes monotonous act of just taking the next step, then the next, even when you can't quite see the landing or the ultimate peak yet. It's that daily commitment to incremental progress. That's what adds up to significant ascent eventually.
So we have this incredibly rich scene, symbolically speaking, and the description mentions the overall aesthetic too. Minimalist, professional, a blue and white theme. How does that visual style, that sort of calm, clear design, actually reinforce the message? Does it?
Oh, I think it absolutely does. If we think about the psychology of it, that minimalist, professional, blue and white look isn't just aesthetics, it's functionally aligned with the whole process. Blue often suggests calm, clarity, focus qualities you really need for deep work and introspection. White suggests purity, simplicity, maybe a clean slate. So together they create this visual feeling of being uncluttered, free from distraction. It emphasizes clarity of purpose, a kind of serene dedication to the journey. It almost suggests that real growth happens best when we simplify things externally to focus internally. Cut through the noise to find clarity and intention.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So pulling it all together then, what does this mean for you listening right now, maybe on your own growth path? When we combine all these elements, the peak, the sunrise, the diary, the books, the plant, the staircase, it really does feel like a comprehensive visual language for this whole multifaceted journey of self-development. It's more than just an inspiring picture. It feels almost like a framework, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's like a condensed philosophy visually. The mountain and sunrise set the big vision, the essential mindset of hope and new beginnings. The diary gives you that critical feedback loop, self-awareness, iterative improvement.
Yeah.
The books emphasize the continuous need for knowledge that informs and elevates you. The plant reminds you growth is organic, resilient, needs patience, goes in cycles, not just sprints. And the staircase offers that practical structure, disciplined, step-by-step progress. It's a really powerful illustration that true growth isn't just one thing. It's not a sudden leap. It's an intentional, disciplined, continuous integration of all these foundational elements, all pushing you towards a higher, more evolved version of yourself.
So we've just taken a pretty deep dive into how a single illustration can really beautifully distill the essence of self-development, using these powerful, relatable symbols, revealing layers of meaning that maybe weren't obvious at first glance. We've seen how it communicates these profound ideas about aspiration, reflection, learning, resilient growth, structured progress. It really is amazing what you can uncover when you look closely and ask the right questions, even with just one piece of content.
Which does raise an important question, perhaps, for you to think about after this. Considering all the powerful, nuanced symbolism we've just explored, how might you visually represent your own unique journey, your path of personal growth and continuous improvement? Thinking about not just the high points, but the challenges, the rhythms, the often unseen work involved. What symbols would be on your mountain peak and why?